driver off the deck for Corey Connors.
Here's driver off the deck for Victor Hovland.
So the driver off the deck. I know you would try this, right?
Oh my, what a shot.
Just to be able to hit it off the deck and get that thing down and fly it and running.
You have to put your foot on the gas. You pull out the driver off the deck and you put it on the green all the way up the hill.
Welcome back to another episode of Off the Deck. Today's episode is brought to you by Eclectic Golf. I am rocking one of the pieces from their new Miami drop. Summer's right around the corner. This stuff is absolutely killer. Visit idaka.golf. That's IDAKA.golf to check out the entire Miami drop, plus the Capri Polo and the Sebastian hoodie. And use promo code OTD25 for 25% off your purchase. Again, that's IDAKA.golf. And promo code OTD25 for 25% off. Mr. Ben Malach, welcome to Off the Deck. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I am doing great. Thanks for taking time to chat. We've been trying to get this on the books now, it feels like for literal months. But you've been jet setting all over the place and time zones and all that. So glad we could finally sit down and have a discussion.
Yeah, I'm even moving out of my apartment today, so I just really needed to get this in. So it's
gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll try not to drag it out too terribly long.
No big deal.
So what is you own Eclectic Golf. Tell me about what you do and what you're working on right now. Then I want to go into your background. Obviously, I'm wearing the Fields Club visor because we both have an immense amount of love and respect for everything that Ashley and Mike Young have done there. So I want to talk about that and just dive right in.
Yeah, so I run Eclectic. It's a small design build golf firm. Our clients range from, me being booked on as a shaper with some bigger firms on some bigger projects, or, small course renovation and advising in that capacity with agronomic stuff and, getting that little bit of architecture at a good dollar, which is, what the Youngs really taught me at the Fields, and bring that to a wider audience. So it's a really diverse firm, and that's kind of why I named it Eclectic. It's I can be working with a small new build project one day, and then the next day I'm literally doing historical research for a big renovation that we're working on next year. So
what projects are you working on right now?
Right now I'm currently working at Burl Oaks or Crossing Waters. And then I have a few other ones in the books, like Norfolk. I'm doing a little bit of work out there, and maybe in Lachute, Quebec. And then I have a few new builds that we're kind of trying to get started.
So I was reading your biography, and I love that you were, I think it was at University of Calgary, that you were in school and were like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm going to Scotland. I'm going to go caddy and be a starter at the links at St. Andrews. Tell me about just that and what that experience was like, but also just packing up and moving over there in the middle of going to college.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing just too much. I'm just a big ball energy. If you get to know me, I'm always saying yes. I'm always trying to do more and more, and it's why I love what I get to do in golf, because I get to do a lot of different things. And so that as a young man in college, trying to figure out how your life works, you just end up kind of getting burnt out. And I was seeing my friends take little gap years in the middle of their degrees, and I thought that was smart because you kind of already started, and it was a reason to come back, so you weren't kind of lost out there like you do if you start do it first. You might never figure out what you're doing with life and just kind of float. So I was like, okay, this all makes sense. And so I'd always loved golf, and I knew that it was pretty easy to get a work visa to the UK as a Canadian. So I just kind of popped over there and found a apartment close to the links and just kind of applied for jobs, and just kind of ended up being the start of the old course based on, working at an indoor driving range in Calgary and having a good interest in the game.
When you found out you were getting a job at the old course, I mean, did you grow up loving the game of golf and know the importance of the old course, or was that something you were learning about before you got over there?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with golf. Ironically, it was my mom who got me to the game, and I found out that I got the job. We were actually in Innsbruck, Austria, and shoot, the town in Austria escapes me. We were in Austria watching ski races, and we had to fly back through Vienna like the night before and like try to get up to St. Andrews so I could make my first orientation for the old course. And like, you know, growing up with golfers, like it's just always been the home of golf. Like I can remember my grandpa talking about going there. Like he had coasters of all the old famous links courses that he had in his little basement man cave, and you know, St. Andrews was one of them. And it was one of his favorite golf hats was a St. Andrews hat, and like so St. Andrews was big in our life, and so like for me to get the chance to live there and like truly work there and just know it, you know, it's one of the greatest gifts I've ever given myself. You know, just spend time there.
What was day to day like being the starter at the home of golf?
So I always did the afternoon shift, so they had the more experienced guy handle the mornings and do all the lists and stuff. So I'd be there to help out sometimes, or if I was coming through with that, which was really interesting to see because we still did the old school you sleep overnight when I was there. So it was like really fun to hear those stories and like a little bit about that. By the time we've been passed off to me, it's just getting people out. So you're talking with everyone, every group. Some groups want you to use a loudspeaker and announce their names, other groups don't.
Okay.
Or you're not really told about who's on your tee sheet until like you walk in. So like, you know, we could have a VIP out on the golf course, you know what I mean? All this other stuff. You're just kind of like just bouncing around, and it's like super fun because I was never a guy who just sat in the box the whole time. I'd try to get the financial stuff taken care of if it needed to, but like a lot of the guests have been prepaid and everything, or just checking in as members. So that was like 2 clicks of a button and I was outside. So, and it's gotten even better now with the new check-in system. So I just kind of sit out and talk to tourists, make sure that it was all cool, and just kind of try to tell people the story of the old course and try to get them as like enthusiastic about this place as I am, because it's truly my heart. Like literally the 18th and first fairway there is like a place that like every time I go there I just feel an immense calm. You know what I mean? I can remember having some really bad tough days, and like just even just standing on that fairway for 5 minutes walking across Granny Clark's is like just nope, like you're good. You just feel pure, you know, and cleansed. And so it's just that's every day there.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's really special. I didn't know that you had such a love and appreciation for the place. I have never been. Obviously, I want to go, as does anybody who loves the game of golf. How many loops did you get around the old course working there?
Working there, probably about 60, and then I probably played around 45 on my own, so I've done over 100 loops.
That's all.
And,
What's
you
your
know,
favorite hole?
13.
Okay, tell me about 13.
Um, 13, it's like the first long par 4 on the back. You've just, you know, come out of the corner of the loop, and you're heading down to the first big double that's shared with 5, right? So, it's that big tabletop, except the right-hand side is guarded by these 2 bunkers, and in the fairway, it's the coffin bunkers, and then the ending hazard is this big mound that you can end up getting stuck in if you hit it too long. And it's this honestly this endless chess master, depending on how far left you want to push it. It brings the coffins more into play. And if your runout's bad over there, you have really no safe angle into the green. But if you play short, you're gonna have a longer angle into the green, but then you have to worry about running it up the hill, because if you have that uphill lie, it launches it a little bit.
Okay.
So then it's like really hard to control the spin. And it's like just the green and the surrounds on that thing are just so cool. So like you can end up in really interesting spots, and it's just you're constantly, for me, it's one of the holes in the old course that really shows how much work you have to do to play well there.
Yeah. So when you went over there, had you already decided, or even when you went to college, had you decided you wanted to work in golf, or was that something that evolved over time?
No, honestly, it was something that happened there. So I was doing international relations before,
Okay.
and you know I loved that stuff. Like I really enjoy talking about travel and different cultures and understanding how we can work together and stuff. So it was always something that was like in my blood to be a little bit of a team builder. But you know, hanging out on the links of St. Andrews, getting to meet a whole bunch of really cool people, and then just noticing the similarities in between the landscape that I grew up in Southern Alberta, which was like an old seabed, and the Links Land, which are old seabeds in St. Andrews in Scotland. So I was just like, hey, why doesn't our golf resemble this? And that's all been like a big quest for me in my life, is figuring out the history of that and that story. And so I was like, oh, like it's so easy because you just do this and this and this and this, because it's like pretty simple once you've seen, like, I really took it as I had this limited amount of time there. I had some money in my pocket, and I knew enough people in golf that I could get around a seasonal spot. So I really took it upon myself to go see as much golf as I could when I was over there. So I saw a lot of great golf, and it just became like, part of my, just the way that I think and the way that I experience golf is like how to, like, either make it better, or how does it make me feel, or what I want to do with it. It's like, I just love the game
So
and
it's interesting you
landscape.
say that, because there are, I don't know that I've ever thought about it in the context that you just mentioned, that golf courses, I have fun when I play golf, right? Like I hope I'm having fun when I'm playing golf. Otherwise I should be behind a computer working. But,
Yeah.
but golf courses do evoke, despite or regardless of the joy that I'm having while I'm playing, they also do evoke different emotions. And it can be something that's very challenging, very difficult, very trying, or it can be wide open fairways, hit it as hard as you want, and it's not truly a test. And I know I'm not doing a great job
No, that's
articulating that,
fair.
but I think that's what I'm hearing you say. Is that correct?
Sort of, in some ways. I think, like, for me, it's about how they respond to and why they are, how they lay upon the landscapes. Like,
Okay.
I think a great example is, like, just to bring it back to a point of common reference, is like the Fields Club, right? Like, there's nowhere else that feels like that in the world. And it's the reason why. And yeah, their fairways are 150 yards wide, but you better be in that, like, little 25-yard window
Right.
box if you want to have like a chance to go for the green. And it's like, and guys, you get out there the first time, and they're like, oh, this is easy, the fairways are crazy wide, and you're like, yeah, man, but like you gotta
Good luck.
really, like, like the first time you see someone hit driver on like 5 and they're down in that little ditch, and it's just like, well, this is gonna end really great for them. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? You're like laying back with a 3-wood, and you're just like, okay, I'll just let you have that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So I love that. How did you get connected? Being a guy from Canada, how did you end up connected with Mike and Ashley Young in LaGrange, Georgia?
I met them through Golf Club Atlas. I was really lucky early on in my early 20s to get on that website, like back in the good old days.
Okay.
And
What is it? What was
so,
on that? I'm not familiar with that website. What is that, or was that?
like, Golf Club Atlas back in the good old days was like the it was like where all the golf architects hung out and talked golf. So it's still a great resource to this day, because it's all a forum. So it was all searchable, and like every one of these long running forums with guys like Tom Doak, or Rob King, like Rob Collins was there, Tad was in there a little bit, Gil Hans was in there.
Whoa.
So like it was like all these guys talking. And so I kind of, and it used to be this kind of, there's only a certain amount of memberships, and like I kind of talked my way on there, being this young kid from Canada. There's an underrepresentation from Canadians, and I just kind of got into that world. And so like when I wanted to do this stuff, and when I really took it seriously, like Mike gave me little chances here and there to like get involved or do something for him if he needed a hand, because like I do it for cheap or free, and Mike's always looking for a deal. um, and so, he was really, helpful. Or I'd have a question, like I could send him an email or a DM, and he'd like get back to me, and like he was like a really good guy to know. And then we ended up working on a couple projects together, and it was like just really helpful, at the start of my career. Just a really good mentor, and just someone who, like, him and his son just really took me under their wing and just taught me a lot about the game and like how to do things.
That's really, really cool. I mean, and that's one of the things that, like, just this podcast, but even on a grander scale, the story you just told about how golf brings people together from all walks of life, from all over the place. Because in no other world does a 20-year-old from Canada end up in LaGrange, Georgia, of all places. That's very cool. So,
Yeah.
is that something you worked with them on Fields Club, or
I did do some renovations work there for them.
okay?
So
What, and tell me about that.
it was cool. I mean, I was down there a couple times for a few weeks, just putting in bunkers. I did a lot of bunker deletion. So like That chipping area on the right side of 8 is all me. That was a big old bunker, and it's all gnarly and like
Yeah.
moving. That's all my, just me sitting there with a excavator and a rake and a couple guys and just trying to make something that was like, I don't. We said we wanted it to be harder when we took the bunker out, and now it's definitely harder until we took the bunker out. Like, you do not want to be right on that green anymore. That used to be kind of the bailout, for a lot of the better players, we put in the bunker on the back of 2, on the back of 2 fairway.
Okay.
That helps push people away from the tee, but it's a nice sighting bunker, and it really puts that fairway together.
Yep.
I did all the tree clearing around 3 green in the
Okay.
excavator.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did
Great
all
golf hole
that
for the
stuff.
listeners who haven't played the Fields Club.
Yeah.
Uh, what is it? It's a maybe a 300-yard dog leg.
Less than that if
If
you take it over
that
the trees. Like, I've seen guys hit it with 3 woods.
over the
But
trees.
it's like, you don't wanna do that, like, this was just a couple of local guys, and,
Yeah.
they
No,
know the
that's
line, and we were
you
just
better
kinda
hit it perfect.
joking around with some stuff. But, no, you can but, most of the good players are hitting mid-irons to the center of the fairway and trying to hit wedges down to the screen, and it's really fun. It's a really fun hole. Or if you wanna get spicy, like, some of the guys are turning 2 irons over,
Okay.
just because, the thing is, like, the Fields Club is the closest place that you get to playing, like, UK golf in the South. Like, there's, shots you have to hit around there that, you're only really hitting on, Heathlands courses around London. Like, it's amazing. It's, one of my favorite places because of that, and so if you know, how to play well, you can get some big advantages, you know? And they've done a really good job with how, and that's the thing, right? So that's kind of the architecture that I'm talking about, is, it's simple, it's lay of the land, it's not fussy. You can maintain it for no money, and that's what, works, but, the way that it pushes the better player, um, is awesome, but the way that it, as a guy can bring his kid around there and they can still have fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, except for there's, a couple bad carries, but, those are getting better.
Yeah.
You know? So, I don't know. That's kinda where I'm at with it, and my architecture, and that's what I learned from those guys.
I love that.
Um
I love that.
And do it all yourself too.
Well,
Um,
and yeah, and that's the first time I went to the Fields, or I've only been once, but I got a couple loops around it. I had no idea that the changes in elevation were there in LaGrange, Georgia. I mean, I'm
mhm,
somewhat familiar with Georgia. My in-laws live in Georgia, about 2 hours south of LaGrange,
yeah.
but had no clue that there were going to be hills and the slopes that there were. Was not expecting that at all, and had an absolute blast. I mean, it's a golf course that makes you think, but it's also a golf course that doesn't kill you. Like,
Mm,
and I love like how you said it. Yeah, like there, if you want to hit driver on, I think you said it was 8 or whichever
Yeah.
hole it was. Yeah, you can hit driver down there, but there's trouble. There's lots of trouble, and that's not even remotely the play. I mean, you better hit it absolutely perfect,
yeah.
and have some incredible control of the golf ball. Otherwise, you're bringing a lot of trouble into play, and that's just not. So yeah, I had a blast down there, and can't wait to get back. And the whole vibe is fun because most of the time, and that's one of the things that's so great about Sweetens Cove. Most of the time, when you have that great architecture and that fun environment, or that fun, thought provoking golf course, it comes at a very hefty price tag, with incredible restrictions and no music and shirts tucked in. And I appreciate that in the right moments and times. But there's just something about the Fields Club that just flourishes with that kind of laid back approach.
I mean, that's golf in the rest of the world, really. Like, I mean, not necessarily the music and stuff, but more
Yeah.
laid back. Like, I mean, I do an annual trip to the UK every year, because it fills my cup. It's the same thing as going to Sweden's for you guys, because I can, literally, walk there, hang out there. There's a guy walking his dog. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if you want to have a beer out there, you can have a beer out there. No one's gonna bother you. Like, you can bring your own beer because no one cares. They're not trying to sell money on beer, right? They're just a golf course, man. It's not, and the conditions aren't they're not bad,
Hmm.
but you know what I mean? Like, they're not pure mono stands of grass, which is kind of weird. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think, if you look at both what Sweetens in the field do well, is that they're, products of their environment, right? The reason why everything's low to the ground and all the greens are built up like they are is because that's how they have to survive in the floodplain down there.
Yeah.
Those big sand bunkers are great ways for them to hide the drainage that they need
Mm-hmm.
to drain that golf course a little quickly to get it under play. And so the bunkers are wasty and shitty, like they can like get away with it. They're both boulder golf courses, especially when you think that the Fields Co was built in like the late 80s. That's a golf course from 1987. And
What does
it's
boulder golf courses mean?
well, you think about it, like how many golf courses do you play? And I can describe every green as having a singular tilt to one exit point, so it drains to one point or one
Okay.
angle,
Yep.
right? How, and then I can tell you that like it'll be bunkered usually on the side that the green tilts towards, that the it receives the shot, right? So then
Yeah.
the green wraps around it, right? And then you look in the fairway and there's probably two bunkers staggered like this at like around your landing area,
Yeah.
so you can't miss it right or left. And so then, you know what I mean? That's what I mean by like they're boulder golf courses. They make you think. They're not Jonesy, and they're not like trying to like just do the same thing over and over again and beat you to death like some of the Robert Trent Jones trail stuff is, right? Like they have features that make you remember them.
Yeah.
Like I can tell you, like, you know, I've played some of the Jones Trail stuff, and like I can tell you one or two holes on some of those courses, but I can't talk to you about like the 15th or 16th at a lot of them. You know what I mean? Like,
So
and that's
I do not, and I'm born and raised in Birmingham, lived here my entire life,
yeah,
and I have yet to. I mean, Ross Bridge, I don't think falls into the category of the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail. Maybe it does.
it
Um,
does.
but I don't care for the RTJ courses. I feel like all the fairways slope away on both sides. So if you
Yeah.
hit a ball with any movement that isn't in the dead center of the fairway, it ejects you right into the woods. And I'm a 9.5 handicap.
Mm.
And so it just that those are so penal, I think, on every single hole that I have not enjoyed them. I had a blast playing Ross Bridge. Ross Bridge is fantastic. Because I think it was a thought-provoking golf course where big fairways, like we've already talked about, but if you didn't hit it in the right spot of that big fairway, you're hosed. You have no hope at
Yeah.
all of trying to get it close to the pin, depending on the angle of approach from where you hit it in that 100-yard wide fairway. But yeah, sorry, I had to go on a tangent on RTJ.
No, go ahead. No,
Because
no.
I can't.
I think it's good to mention because like I the best thing I can do as like someone with what I do is like talk about how you can experience all this stuff in your own backyard and how we can start encouraging the market to make choices towards rewarding the places that are doing the right things.
That's well said. So
Right.
what projects? You kind of touched on projects right now that you're already working on. You've done some work at Poppy Ridge, and then Eclectic. One of your, I guess, your tagline, excuse me, is design, build, refresh.
Yeah.
How much designing are you doing? How much building, and then refreshing? I assume falls under the category like restoration. That kind of thing.
Restoration.
Okay.
Yeah, that stuff. So I'm doing it all in different phases. Building, as anyone can tell you, takes some time. We're in permits on a couple of courses and really working with some stuff. The building we're doing all the time. Like that's kind of my bread and butter right now is helping other people build or like get stuff done. Like the reason why the Youngs hired me is I'm one of the few guys that can pretty much do it all. Like if you need me to help build your irrigation system, I can help you do the irrigation. I've done drainage systems. The unsexy side of golf, as I call it, you know what I mean? The contractor stuff. And so, you know, or I'm doing the shaping. Like a lot of the times now I'm like really just, you give me a set of detailed plans and I'm just going to make that thing look good. And I'm going to make all those alterations and make it work for you. And then that way we can simplify this process of communication between the club and everyone. So that's kind of where I do a lot of the time now, just because it's like really easy for me to fit the office stuff in at the end of the day or the start of the day. And then I can, you know, go spend 8, 9 hours, you know, reworking your golf course. And so I just finished Annandale right now. Wilshire also just opened up, which is going to be hosting the LPGA Tour here pretty soon up.
Nice.
So yeah, so stuff like that is where I'm spending most of my time, and then, you know, trying to get all the time to find the new builds and some of the refreshing stuff, like at what we're doing at Norfolk and Lachute. So Norfolk is a really cool 9-hole course in southwestern Ontario. It's in the
Okay.
sand dunes off of one of the Great Lakes. So it's 110 feet of sand. It's a 9-hole course, and
Whoa.
all we're trying to do is just try to like it's one of the oldest courses in Canada. It's from the early 1900s. And we're just trying to like polish it up and give it that old school 1900s look and just try to like refine and hone into like what the best version of this place was because it's one of the few places that I don't have to haul in greens mix to do greens expansion or do greens change. That's how good the soils are there. It's like super super special. Like we're really lucky to have what we have there, and so we're just trying to take care of it and trying to be stewards of it. And so that's kind of the stuff that we're really working with at Eclectic.
So how much, I mean, are you on the road 40 weeks a year, or what does that look like?
Yeah, I'm on the road about that much. It's been a lot better since I've like kind of like figured out a situation where I'm more home based out of here out of Los Angeles.
Okay. I was about to
And
ask where
like
it's
set up
home now.
California. But like I mean I still spend, a good amount of time in Calgary in Canada. So it's like it's it's just bouncing and trying to figure out what works best for me. Um and it's just complicated and I just try to do as much as I can with the limited amount of time I have in my life. So
Yeah, and you're juggling. I mean, and some of this, I guess, when a job becomes available, like if the Youngs call you and want help with something, you have to have the bandwidth to add that to your schedule when they want to do it. I mean, that's how do you juggle all of that?
I try to. It's tough. I mean, I'm also I also signed a lot of deals, right? So like I've got Burl Oaks this summer, but like we've made some real good progress there. So I have some openings. So I'm trying to like fill people in there too. But then like it's also construction. So like if a permit or say a weather event happens,
Hmm.
like that might push back that schedule and then my availability moves and that window moves, right? Because I've been signed to that contract. So it's like very, very fluid, very, you know, my girlfriend is like very like happy that I have a patient personality because if I was like a type A, like everything needs to be planned and fit in its like tight little box, like I would go crazy.
Yeah.
But it's just, kind of being an expert in chaos is kind of being a golf architect. And I think that's one of my favorite parts of my job is I don't know necessarily how all the pieces are going to get fit together, but I just have belief and faith that we're going to find the right way and the right path, right?
So, if you have, I guess, if you were to pick an architect that you have studied the most of, or someone that you have just poured over their work, who would that be?
I'm a big Tom Simpson guy. He's probably my number one, him or Perry
Okay.
Maxwell.
Okay.
Um, and or
What
Harry
has he done
Colden.
that I would be familiar with?
Probably the most famous one would be like Lahinch in Ireland.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like Woking. He did some work there in
Okay.
New Zealand and outside of London.
Hmm.
Obviously Harry Colt is
Yeah.
probably the biggest name. And so he was obviously the mentor of Alistair McKenzie. Um, his biggest stuff in North America is probably like Old Elm or shoot, I always forget the one he did outside of Detroit, but he did some stuff Oakland Hills, I think.
Okay.
So and he was also the main advisory architect at Pine Valley.
Okay.
So that's and then Perry Maxwell's obviously Prairie
He's
Dunes,
yeah.
Old Town Club, pretty much all the best stuff at Augusta. Um, like just a legend in the game, just especially in the South. And did a lot in a period of time where there was no budget, no money, and he made places better by simplifying them, which is why I really liked his philosophy in architecture. It was like a really nice decoding system for like a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And then I've also deeply studied Stanley Thompson just as a Canadian. It's important to understand Thompson.
Okay.
I don't know if you know anything about Stan,
I do
but
not.
he's
No, tell me. Educate me.
okay. So Stanley Thompson is probably like Canada's Donald Ross.
Okay.
He's got a course everywhere, and this is partially due to a partnership he formed with the Canadian government through and other railways. So he built courses in all our national parks and around the country. And so his most famous courses are like Banff, which is in all the Tiger Woods games. He also did Jasper, which was Alistair McKenzie said was one of the best inline courses he's ever seen. Um, Cabot Highlands, which is, in the top, I think it's in the top 50 in the world, or top 100 in the world. St. George's, where they held the Canadian Open a few years ago, and then Capilano in Vancouver, which is well regarded. Those are
Okay.
his big 5 courses, all probably top 100 in the world. And so the cool thing about Stan is that he kind of invented the modern style architecture, of like penal bunkering and mono slopes and simplifying architecture down to those basic elements. And he taught that architecture down to Robert Trent Jones, who worked for him for 5 to 10 years in the 1920s and 30s before he went and worked for Green Lake. And to the point where when he was applying for those jobs in upstate New York, which were for his first courses, he referenced the work that he did for Stanley Thompson at Banff and Capilano.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's stuff that like is like really, so it's really cool foundational stuff. And so it was like not that I'm necessarily a big fan of Stanley Thompson, but it was like something that I've done. And like I said, one of the bigger things of my career was figuring out where the architecture came from in my home province and why it's different than the architecture of the UK, even though I found a Harry Colt course that got paved over for a highway. So Harry Colt was there in Calgary. We had 3 Willie Park
Wow.
Jr. courses that only one exists now. You know what I mean? So we had this cool basis of architecture, and how did we lose it? So it's like it was this puzzle, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't wrong, the land was good. I wasn't wrong that there was good architecture here. I just had to tell the story of what happened to it. Like, we had one of the first municipal golf courses built west of the Mississippi, built by Tom Bendelow in 1903.
Okay.
Right? Like, this is like, and then like it just got rerouted in the 80s, and part of it got sold for a subdivision. It's like you just like, this is like the type of stuff that I love to do, right? So it like helps influence my career and like everything, because like you'll learn, you know what I mean? Like, everything's connected to everything, and that's kind of why golf is eclectic, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well, and you don't know where you're gonna go if you don't know where you've been. And like,
exactly.
and all the detective work and research that you've done, I'm sure has played a huge role in your design efforts and the things that you like to see and the things that you want to put into golf courses. Has Eclectic, have you been engaging with anyone yet about designing a full 18 holes on your own?
We have it's not necessarily 18,
Okay.
but we have some stuff in the planning that is like different looks on golf. I think that's kind of where the space is for younger people to get into the new build space. I don't think, unless you're lucky to be Blake Connaught or Brian Schneider, who are older than me and have spent more time in the game than me, you're not necessarily going to walk into a situation like Old Barnwell.
Okay.
So I've got a couple people that are doing some good stuff. Oh, my camera's cutting in and out because of battery. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on with me.
Okay. Cool. Well, if your camera's cutting
The
out.
camera will just cut in and out. The audio will stay good.
Oh, okay, perfect. Well, for people on YouTube, sorry, you're stuck with my mug for a little while.
I apologize. Yeah, it's just I use my webcam because my camera on my laptop is like really busted. So I
Okay,
use
no, that's fine.
Yeah.
So if you had to design the perfect golf hole, because you're the first architect that I've had on the show, what would the perfect golf hole look like for you?
One of my favorites was the old version of the first hole at the new course.
Okay.
It's like 324 yards. There's a bunker out to the right, some like 280 to 225. The green starts at like 260 and goes all the way back to 290. No, 300, sorry. And so it's a driving pitch hole with like a little mound in the center. And so it's like just a very, very cute, just like, you've got to play with this mound, and depending on where the pin is, you want to challenge the bunker. On the days that the pin's different, you want to challenge the mound, and it's just simple, you know what I mean? And it's like all about the green, and just a
Okay.
simple green, you know what I mean? That's just a little built up. Like, no, I'm not talking built up a lot. I'm talking 6 inches off the ground, because like if you putt it, it'll bring a
Okay.
pitch. You know what I mean? It just
Yeah.
that 6 inches up is like the worst thing you can do to a golfer.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just enough that you want to hit a pitch, but it's not enough that like you should putt that.
Yeah. But that 6
Right?
inches is gonna totally screw you.
Yeah, because you can like then it's just bringing you on to play, right? And it's like if you don't, it can bounce, it can do weird stuff, right?
So is that your, I mean, other than 13 at the old course, is that your just ideal golf hole?
I think it's a good way to explain a lot of my principles. It's about using one bunker in the fairway and using it judiciously. Um, and it's about using natural slopes and contours and creating a simple golf hole that like works at a drivable length that like you don't necessarily want to try to drive that because like
Yeah.
that sucks, right? Like
Right. Right. That's
right.
I love that you said that because number 5 at Sweetens Cove, I think
Yeah.
might be my favorite golf hole ever.
Yeah.
I love number 5 at Sweetens. It's a drivable par 4, but if you drive it and miss the green, you might make a 7.
Yeah.
And there's something about that, like especially in Sweetens is built as a match play golf course, which I love. And so the beauty in that of, okay, where does the match stand? Do I need to take my medicine and just slap a 7-iron out here and then hit a wedge? But you've got that green it's receptive. But if, like I said, if you
Yeah.
miss, there's no telling what you're walking off with.
I just think that like that's what Rob and the boys did there really well is especially when you're playing different pins the entire day
Yeah.
and you're like playing different pins, different tees, like you can really have spots where you want to go and spots where you don't.
Yeah.
And it's like super fun, especially when you get to play there a little bit more. I've had the lucky, I think I played there 3 or 4 times now.
Okay.
And it's just been, great every time.
Yeah,
like
it's a special place.
I
for
miss
sure.
the old times where you could just walk and play 9 and then sneak up to Swanee and like get the Valley 9, the Valley 18 in.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was
So I was told recently that was supposed to be like a partnership deal. That it was supposed to be like the 9 on the valley and 9 on the ridge, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, and that kind of fell apart. But that there was supposed to be some kind of joint effort there, and this was, I think, maybe before Sweetens was even Sweetens. It might have been when it was unknown what was going to happen with Sweetens, but that was pretty fascinating to me. And I've also heard, I have not played Sewanee, but I've heard it's incredible, that it's a lot of fun, and that I need to get up there and play it as soon as possible.
Oh man, if you're see, this is the problem. It's like it's got to be you're staying over the night in the valley to go play Sweetens in the morning because you got to play that in the evening round, or else
Yeah.
it's kind of just an awkward situation. Because like if you're spending the money and you've got the day ticket at Sweetens, like you don't want to like be like, hey boys, I'm gonna miss the morning round because I'm
Right.
going up to the hill. Or like you don't want to be like, hey guys, I'm gonna dodge out before sunset and like
Yeah,
not
miss
miss the
golden
hangout on
hour.
miss golden hour and hanging out on the patio and like throwing balls in the green and like doing all the stupid stuff,
Right.
And so like that's where it's kind of tough for me. Like now it's like, okay, like if we're doing Sweetens, we're doing Sweetens. And like does it fit back in on the back to Nashville travel day? And I can't wait to see what the municipal park stuff happens there, because then that could be a really great easy weekend for a lot of guys to fly to Nashville, play 18 at one of the cool new municipals that I forget who's doing that. He's just on Feed the Ball, but I forget. They brought in some really good people to do that, and
Okay.
so there's going to be some changes at the Nashville municipal courses.
Okay.
And then you can go play Swanee.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's gonna bug me.
What is? Trying
The
to
guy
remember.
who's doing the Nashville,
Yeah.
it's Bruce, I think. He was just on Feed the Ball.
Okay. If you could blow up a single hole that is world renowned, and so now I've given you a broad topic, but a hole that people put on postcards and on artwork, but you think is horrendous, what hole would it be?
I mean, that's tough. I think probably the hole that I dislike the most as a concept but is like most regarded as like 17th at the Island Green. But like I get it there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I get it. Like
Yeah.
it, like in the original concept of it, it's like it's not that like frustrating to me. I think like I blew up the whole concept of needing a signature hole. I think that did a lot of
Mm.
damage.
Yeah.
I think if you're trying to hang your hat on having one good golf hole, like I mean, I'm a guy that will go see a golf course for one good golf hole, but I don't know how many guys are gonna want to come back. Um, and I think like as you know, as someone that runs a business, like it's not about the guy that checks in once; it's about the guy that keeps coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And so like trying to build a whole business and a brand around that is like tough for me. Like I know it better than most because like I grew up here in Southern Alberta where like it was all tourist golf, like big postcard, big resort stuff, and it. It's not that I don't dislike those holes, but the ones that actually worked and are good resort courses like Banff and Jasper, all the holes are decent. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's not just oh well, you're walking up happy because you got to hit it down the hill. You know what I mean? Like because like those ones are always the good holes there. It's the holes that are around back and that they just kind of like are ugly stepchildren that they just kind of like push it off to the side that are the ones that kill me
Right.
because
Right.
it's
Yeah.
still like like I just think about how it's gonna cost you near $100 million to build a golf course now if you want to build a full 18.
God, is that what it cost?
Well, like you're 60-80 million dollars in if you're trying to scrape the barrel, but
Okay.
you're $20 million if you want to like if you're having to like change zoning and you're having to bring all that stuff in, you know what I mean? Like I mean I'm quoting almost 20 to do certain renovation stuff.
Wow. That's mind blowing. I knew it was a big number. I didn't realize it was.
It's like frustrating because like I'm trying to do stuff like some of the stuff that I really want to do is like $5-6 million,
Okay.
which is still like a lot of money,
Yeah.
but like that's something that you could attainably raise with a good group of friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like enough people passing the hat around, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but like you get up to like an irrigation system's like $5-6 million,
Okay.
right? And then so like all the other stuff, you're at 20 to build the golf course, 25. Then you're building the housing, all that other stuff that you need around it. So that's another 30-40, right? So
Yeah.
it adds up quick, right? And like that's the real problem with this stuff. So like if you're gonna like spend that much money and you're gonna be that much of a drain on the resources, you're gonna be doing all this stuff, like why not care enough to like make all 18 holes special and interesting questions? And why are we leaning on like old things? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I did that here like 20 years ago and I've been doing it for 20 years. Like, let's keep it rocking. You know what I mean? Like, there's a certain group that are doing it and it's very frustrating to me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. That's well said.
I,
If you could build a golf course anywhere in the world, where would you build one?
um, I mean, it'd be cool to do one here in Southern Alberta. Well, back home in Southern Alberta. I don't know if you've seen photos of Banff and Jasper and the foothills up there. It's just wonderful.
It looks
Great,
incredible. Absolutely
great land.
incredible.
And it's underserved. And, I think that that's kind of why I got into this whole thing. As much as, I love Scotland, I loved England, and I love to, add my name and my voice to that conversation. Like I'd be, beside myself if I didn't get to work at home, work in my hometown.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I
really
think
cool. That's very cool. Is there an architect or because I know you're in this industry, but is there someone that you would love to work with?
I'm very lucky that I've gotten to work with a majority of my favorite people. I'd
Okay.
say I'd like to work more with, Mike Young and Tom Doak.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't gotten to work with Gil Hans yet. I'd love to. I haven't gotten to work with David McClay Kid, but like, I'm not feasting for it. Um, but like the time that I spent with Tom and the time that I spent with Bill and Ben, those are like some of my favorite experiences. So I'd really like to get back with them, do some more with them. I'm happy with where I'm at.
Yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
a nice little
Where did
crew.
you work with Gordon Crenshaw?
I helped do Cabot Cliffs.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, that was my first jump.
Really?
Yeah.
And what were you doing on that project?
I
Shaping
was
or what?
literally, just bunker biatch boy for like shaping and like finish work and shoveling and raking of like and doing out of play stuff and like making sure stuff tied in and making sure all the heads were good and like all the little detail finish shaping stuff that I did out there. It was good.
That
It was good practice. Like I'm really happy I did it.
yeah.
You know, but it wasn't
What
any of the
how
cool
much time so
sexy
just
stuff.
you kinda, and, the idea bubble went off in my head.
Yeah.
A bunker. Let's just take a bunker, a general bunker that's green side. How many hours go into the shaping, preparation, and the installation of a bunker as we see
So
it
man
today?
hours
Yeah.
to get from like finish to there,
Mhm.
it's probably about 60 to 70 hours
Wow, okay.
of work. Um, if I'm doing it, that's like, and then that's just on me estimating from like the time that I do it myself. And then if I have
Yeah,
help, because I can do it with the help, I can do it in a day and a half, but I need like 6 guys.
okay. And the shaping always fascinates me because you're on a dozer and how much and that's where I'm sure there's a fine line, and this is something I bet you've got a pretty strong opinion on of leaving the land as it was found versus altering it and shaping it into something different depending on the landscapes. Where do you fall on that? I mean, I'm sure it's case by case depending on kind of the canvas you're given, for lack of a better word. But what is, I know there's plenty of things that are over architect and over constructed that could have been left alone. But are you more minimalist, or are you let's get in and do the work?
I'm just trying to fit the golf to the site.
Okay.
Um, if it's, I mean, I just don't like to change as much, and I don't like to fight things just because I've learned the Mother Nature wins.
Yeah, that's
Right.
a great point.
So like that's my criticism to like when you're trying to really overwork something is there's gonna be a failure in that system at some point, and like how expensive is that failure? And are the clients willing to take that risk and do that?
Yeah.
Right? Like if you want to, the stuff that you can do with grown grass now, if you want to float a green out there in the middle of the ocean and like on some stilts, you and hit a ball to it,
Yeah.
we can do that and call that a golf hole, right?
Right.
There's nothing in the rule book that says against it. Like look at what Johnny Morris has done down at like his big cedar project, right?
Yeah.
That's like literally fantasy land stuff,
It's
right?
goofy golf.
Right. And no, but like you can do that and it can still be golf and you can still and it works for a certain clientele and it works for a certain ownership. That's not necessarily my golf, the stuff that I really want to be working on and adds passion in my life, but like as long as it's like not like offensive and it's not like, like so overbuilt that I'm just like sitting there like, oh, like where is this? Like I was at a Shadow Creek and it was like fine. Like it looked cool and it was like very interesting. You saw how it was done. It was very cool.
Mhm.
Um, it's just not my thing. Like it's just not for me. And just one move like just because I don't want to worry about what nature's gonna do.
Yeah. No, and I love that you said that. That's so have you been out to Landman?
I'm going this year, hopefully.
Nice.
So Trev, my good friend Trevor Dormer, who I actually met because he built all the bunkers at Cottage Cliffs, so I was under him.
Okay.
He's doing that Old Dane project next door. And
Yeah.
so I want to go see him and his brother. I haven't seen him in like 6 or 7 years. And so I just want to go say hi and like just, see what that looks like. And so he said he'd walk me around Landman. So I'm
It
excited for that.
I wanna hear from you after you visit it
Yeah.
because it is the scale of it, words don't do it justice. It is so vast.
Yeah, it's
And
crazy.
yeah, and Rob even said it. Rob was like, "Look," he was like, the golf course has to match the scale of the property and what you're looking at from all these different tee box locations and everything." And so, I mean, he matched it beautifully, but it's jaw dropping when you get up top and see everything. And I didn't know that you had the connection with Trev Dormer. So I assume he or somebody else runs the Old Dane Instagram account because I've been blowing them up, hoping that
Yeah.
they're going to be open when I'm there in July. I don't think they will be, but I at least want to go see Old Dane what they're doing there, because I had a blast at that place 2 years ago before they shut it down for the renovation. It is so much fun, and I'm sure it's only going to be even better once they get done.
Yeah, I think his brother's kind of on top of that right now.
Okay.
I know Trev's like involved in it pretty heavily, but he's bouncing between 3 other jobs.
Yeah, in like
The
New
man is
Zealand at 7 Mile or 8 Mile, whatever they're doing.
Yeah, he's got Australia, he's doing some stuff, he's
Dornick.
trying to up with the Dornock stuff.
Yeah.
He's also doing, Torch K for Core Crenshaw,
Okay.
and then he's got some work in Canada doing some other stuff, and then he's doing Old Dane.
Yeah.
So brother is busy, I'm very happy for him, like, he's one of the kindest, most gentlest humans I've ever met. Big up to him, but, busy as heck.
Yeah. Ben, I know you were eager to get moved out of your apartment, and you've got much better things to do than stay on here and chat with me, but thank you for taking time to come on and talk about eclectic golf and your background and everything you got going on. I very much appreciate it.
No problem, Josh. Anytime you need me on here to, toss some garbage around, let's do that.
I would love to have you on again sometime soon. Ben, thanks again for coming on. I'm Josh Decker, and this has been another episode of Off the Deck.